Alright, hey everybody, this is Harvey Media, and once again I find myself in a bit of a bind. You see, I normally try and make sure I have a video out every Saturday. Sadly, in this instance, that isn't really going to work for me. I know the last couple of weeks I've been kind of off and on with that, especially since most of the videos that I actually do end up uploading end up being removed from YouTube for a variety of different reasons. The main thing that's going on is that I've just been extremely busy recently in my life doing work and other things, and I just haven't had the time to edit, and I will admit it, the times that I have had the time to edit my videos, I have been extremely lazy considering how busy I have been the rest of the time. So, yeah, yeah, I have no excuse. So the next Bibleman review is in fact filmed, and it is partially edited, but it would not be finished in time for tonight. So I decided instead to make this quick video. And what is this video about? This video is a list. That's right. When internet personalities can't think of what else to do, they make lists. And my list is my list of the top 8 most awesome examples of product placement in movies. Product placement is kind of a running gag with movie geeks such as myself. You know, it's both of a it's kind of funny to watch the product placement show up, and it's kind of a curiosity to see it showing up. And apparently there's been a big stink about product placement recently, given that the new James Bond film, Skyfall, is said to have a whole ton of product placement in it because the studio, MGM, has fallen on hard times financially. So in the film, James Bond, instead of having a vodka martini straightened, shaken not stirred, is actually going to be drinking a Heineken. Apparently this is a big frickin' deal. So I just want to make sure everyone remembers that product placement isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it's an amazingly good thing, or at least a totally awesome one. So let's go back in time and look over the top 8 because I couldn't think of the other 2 to make it a full top 10 list. The top 8 greatest examples of product placement in film. So, a few ground rules. 1. Nothing from TV. It cannot be from television, except for one instance where I'm going to cheat a little bit, but even that is technically from a movie. So, not from television. Second, the movie cannot be written around a product. No Space Jam, no Transformers, nothing like that. It has to be a film that was made for some other purpose than shilling out this particular product, and this particular product just ended up being put into the film as product placement in order to help the film get off the ground. Alright, now without further ado, let's go to number 8. And already I'm cheating a little bit here because the movie that I have picked for the number 8 slot is the Doctor Who TV movie. Now, I do actually consider this a movie and not just a television episode, so it is a movie. That's not where I'm cheating. Where I'm cheating is because of what the product placement is. The product placement is, of course, and if you have already watched Doctor Who, you know this, jelly babies. And see, this is the reason why I'm cheating is because the reason why Jelly Babies is so awesome in this instance isn't really because of the movie. It is really because of the television show. It's because the Doctor is so famous now, mainly because of the run on the series of Tom Baker. Although I do have to point out, Patrick Troughton, my Doctor, was the first Doctor to ever ingest Jelly Babies on the show. It was Tom Baker's Doctor who made the expression, "Would you like a jelly baby?" A very famous one.
Now drop your weapons, or I'll kill him with this deadly jelly baby.
And every Doctor since then, or almost every Doctor since then, has at some point offered their villains or their friends a jelly baby. And of course, Paul McGann, in this aborted attempt at a pilot for a new series of Doctor Who, was not going to be left out of the loop, so in the film, he offers jelly babies to several different characters. Now, most Americans, when they watch this show, have no idea what a Jelly Baby is. So I'm basically imprinting my own experience with this show onto everybody else. They have no idea what a Jelly Baby is, but then when they go to Europe, of course, they have to have some. And I'm sure that among British children back in the day, when Tom Baker was running Doctor Who, and ever since then, Jelly Babies have become one of the most popular candies ever, if they weren't already. And yes, I did take a trip to Ireland recently, and when I was there, I made an express mission. I made it my mission to go out there and find some Jelly Babies, and I did have some. And if, in case some of you haven't had them and you're wondering, actually, yes, they're quite good. They are nothing like gummies. I thought they were just going to be gummies with a different shape, but no. They're not like gummy bears. They're completely different candy. They're really weird, but they're actually pretty good. It's sort of an acquired taste, but it is a good candy. I recommend it to tourists who are fans of British sci-fi. Toy Story. Now, Toy Story is a weird little example of a film that I don't even think this was supposed to be product placement. I think what they were literally trying to do was just put toys that people would know into the film so that it would feel a little bit more close to home for the adults who had grown up with these toys. But at the same time, the film served as really good product placement for these toys. I mean, let's be honest. Growing up, was there any reason that you would have had a Mr. Potato Head doll or an Etch-a-Sketch? Would you have had either one of those toys if that movie hadn't come out? I know I wouldn't have. I had no use for those toys. Mr. Potato Head didn't have any guns or any storyline involving him fighting an evil race of aliens, so I didn't care about that. And the Etch-a-Sketch, I just spent the entire time with that thing trying to make it draw an oval. Did it work? No. The damn thing only ever drew corners. I could never get it to work, and like these insane artists you find on the internet who devote hours of their time to creating etch-a-sketch masterpieces. I was never one of those kids. So you gotta hand it to this movie for making us buy toys that we would never otherwise have purchased. They made us try and sleep with Buzz Lightyear and Toy Story dolls. You know how uncomfortable that was when I was a kid, trying to sleep with a Buzz Lightyear doll? It was ridiculous. Number 6, Pulp Fiction. Did you know that they call a quarter pounder with cheese a Royale with cheese in France? Of course you do, because that meme is everywhere on the internet. Everybody knows about this now. The only reason people know this is because of that little insignificant line of brilliant dialogue written by Quentin Tarantino. Number 5, Back to the Future. In this film, when Marty McFly arrives in the past and is met by his mother instantly assumes his name is Calvin Klein, because it is written all over his underwear. This not only adds a little bit of creepy to their relationship, foreshadowing the nature that their relationship will have in this movie, that is, a creepy one, but it actually introduced an interesting little Easter egg for people watching foreign versions of the film. When the film was translated into other languages for other countries, they changed the name of the product. Now, I found this information on a website, I assume it was Wikipedia, a long time ago, and sadly, now looking up the information, I cannot find the actual information anywhere. So, there is a possibility that what I'm saying is false, in which case I apologize for relaying false information. But if it is true, I think that's actually kind of interesting. Calvin Klein here, his name is Calvin Klein here because we understand that, but in another country it may be something else based on another product that they would have more relationship with. It just seems like an obvious thing to do. Number 4, Ghostbusters, the Twinkie scene.
I'm worried, Ray. It's getting crowded in there, and all my recent data points to something big on the horizon.
What do you mean, the big?
Well, let's say this Twinkie represents the normal amount of psychokinetic energy in the New York area. According to this morning's sample, it would be a Twinkie 35 feet long, weighing approximately 600 pounds.
That's a big Twinkie.
We could be on the verge of a fourfold cross-rip. A PKE surge of incredible, even dangerous proportions.
We just had a visit from the Environmental Protection Agency. How's the grid holding up?
It's not good.
Tell him about the Twinkie.
What about the Twinkie?
Number 3, Blade Runner. Now you may be wondering, wait, where was there product placement in Blade Runner? Well, if you're watching the scenes closely, that big screen in the background that's always going, oh, oh, well, that scene also at one point advertises Coca-Cola. Of course, Coca-Cola, as with everything else in this film, just adds to the ambiance of oppression and just general dirty grittiness that this movie has, which makes it one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. And number 2, Superman 2. Wow, Superman 2. If I was going to review this movie, it would take, well, a video even longer than the videos I usually put out, and that is saying something. But just looking at one scene in this movie, it's the Coca-Cola sign scene. Now, everyone points out this scene as being a really silly moment, but when I was a kid, and I bet when you were a kid too, this was one of the most awesome things you'd ever seen in your life. There's a scene where Superman has to fight 3 people just as powerful as he is. And when one of these people, General Zod, gets a little bit too rowdy, Superman decides to throw him into a giant Coca-Cola sign, and the entire thing explodes. It is freaking awesome, and it affected my childhood psyche so much that every time me and my brother were playing one of those games where you pit fictional characters against each other, try and figure out who would win, we would always end up doing something like, and then Superman throws Galactus into a Coca-Cola sign, and then the Incredible Hulk throws Spider-Man into a Coca-Cola sign, and then Mickey Mouse throws Donald Duck into a Coca-Cola sign, something like that. It was just, it was so much, it's such an awesome moment. And yeah, I do know that they also have a little bit of product placement with Marlboros in that movie, but seriously, Marlboros, not nearly as awesome. And finally, the number 1 most awesome example of product placement in film ever, Fight Club. Why? Because the film itself, the film Fight Club, is a satire of our consumerist culture. And the film has a bunch of product placement, like more product placement than I've ever seen in any movie, and yet it uses that product placement to further its agenda of making fun of our consumerist culture. It is frickin' brilliant. I mean, it almost manages to make me hate Krispy Kreme donuts, for crying out loud. How do you even do that? Don't worry, it didn't make me completely hate Krispy Kreme donuts. I mean, how could I? They're Krispy Kreme donuts, but still, it gets pretty close. David Fincher is a genius. He managed to take product placement and turn it into something that actually helped the message of his film rather than distracted from it. It works perfectly within the context of the film, and not only helps teach us a lesson about consumerism, also fuel the fires of the character's own insane obsession, but it also gives us that same War of the World sense of fear and dread that I was talking about before, where you see things that you know and are accustomed to seeing, but in this new world where they are shown to be scary and dangerous and being destroyed. It adds an extra level of personal uncomfortableness to the film, which is just brilliant. So anyway, that's my list, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you'll be patient and are looking forward to seeing my video, just as I'm looking forward to hopefully finally finishing it by next week. I hope, maybe, we'll see. In the meantime, this is Harvey Media, and I will see you all later.